Hi guys, Cliff Olson, Doctor of Audiology and founder of Applied Hearing Solutions in Phoenix, Arizona. And in this video, I'm going to give you 3 things that you can do to hear better in background noise. Coming up. Do you know the one thing that every single person who wears hearing aids wants? It's not rechargeability, it's not Bluetooth connectivity, it's not invisibility, and it's not even a lower price. The number one thing that everybody wants from their hearing aids is to be able to hear better in background noise. We know this because every survey in the history of surveys given to individuals who use hearing aids, the desire to hear better in background noise is always the number one priority. Unfortunately, hearing better in background noise is extremely difficult, but there are 3 things that you can do to dramatically improve how well you function in these noisy environments. You just have to know what these things are and how to employ them properly. And that is what I'm going to talk about in this video. But before I do, if you could do me a huge favor and click the like button, it really helps out my channel because it gets these videos in front of a bigger audience. And while you're at it, if you have not yet hit that subscribe button with notification bell, go ahead and do that as well because that ensures that you never miss one of my newly released videos, and I release multiple new videos every single week. That being said, I greatly appreciate it, and a big shout out to ReSound who sponsored today's video, but more on them in a little bit. There are a number of different reasons why understanding speech and background noise is so difficult. The first reason is that background noise tends to be more low frequency in nature, and most individuals who have hearing loss have good low frequency hearing with not so good mid and high frequency hearing. But this creates an effect of you being able to hear the background noise really well, but you don't have access to the high frequency speech components to separate speech from the noise. The second reason is that everybody needs at least some separation of speech from background noise in order to hear what's being said. We call this signal to noise ratio loss. Basically, SNR loss is how much more speech you need above the background noise before you can understand what's being said. For instance, if you have a measured SNR loss score of 5 decibels, then you need speech of the person that you want to hear to be 5 decibels louder than the background noise. On the other hand, if you have an SNR loss score of 20 decibels, then you need the speech of the person talking to you to be 20 decibels louder than the background noise before you can understand what's being said. In this particular case, an SNR loss score of 5 and an SNR loss score of 20 are dramatically different from each other. All right, time for a Dr. Cliff pro tip. If you do not know what your SNR loss score is, you can easily identify this number by going to a hearing care professional who follows best practices and who administers a speech and noise test. Once you do this speech and noise test, they should be able to give you your exact score. The third reason why understanding speech in a background noise situation is so difficult if you have hearing loss is the damage that has occurred to the outer hair cells inside of your cochlea, which is your hearing organ. Most people do not realize that your brain plays a significant role in noise reduction by controlling your outer hair cells. Healthy outer hair cells are responsible for increasing the vibration of sound to make sure that that sound can actually reach your brain. But the other function that outer hair cells have is to suppress the amount of noise that's transmitted up the auditory nerve to the brain with the brain's help. Unfortunately, the vast majority of individuals with hearing loss have significant damage to these outer hair cell structures, which means that your ears cannot restrict the amount of noise that goes up to your brain anymore. All right, now for the good news and on to the 3 things that you can do to hear better in a background noise situation. And the first thing that you can do is get closer to the person that you want to hear when you're in a noisy situation. You know, when you go into a noisy situation and you end up leaning into the person that you want to hear, you're doing that because it increases the volume of their voice in decibels. And if you can improve the signal to noise ratio enough to overcome your SNR loss score, then you're actually going to hear them better. Every time you cut the distance between yourself and the person that you want to hear in half, it increases the volume of their voice by 6 decibels. Now, if you're anything like me, you will actually download a sound level meter on your smartphone so you can measure the amount of background noise and measure the volume of the person's voice who's talking to you. And if you know what your SNR loss score is, you can actually calculate how close you have to be to the person you want to hear before you can understand them. But if you're not that good at math, that's okay. There are other things that you can do, including this second thing that you can do, which is get a hearing aid that has specifically been designed to help you hear better in background noise, like the ReSound OMNIA receiver and canal hearing aid from ReSound, today's video sponsor. ReSound had one singular goal in mind when developing the ReSound OMNIA hearing aid, and that was to create a hearing aid that could help you hear substantially better in a noisy situation. The ReSound OMNIA improves your signal-to-noise ratio by a whopping 4.5 decibels over their previous generation ReSound 1 technology, which is huge when it comes to hearing better in background noise. According to ReSound, this signal-to-noise ratio improvement is equivalent to 150% better speech understanding and noise compared to their previous generation technology. This means that you do not have to get all up into your friend's face to be able to understand what they're saying if you're in a noisy room. ReSound achieved this better performance in background noise by improving 3 key things about the ReSound OMNIA hearing aid. The first thing being improving the transition speed between their different program settings. In ReSound's all-around program inside of their OMNIA hearing aids, they can transition you between 7 different automatic program settings and do it substantially faster than what they could with their previous generation technology. This means that you don't have to wait for your hearing aid to switch into the proper settings, giving you better speech understanding and background noise a lot quicker. The second thing they improved was their 360-degree sound awareness. By taking sounds from the opposite side of your head and transitioning them to your other ear, it actually fills in this dead space that you have from the head shadow effect, so you can actually get better sound awareness from that opposite side. And since ReSound takes the approach of making one of your hearing aids directional and the other one omnidirectional, it gives you better sound awareness around you and also good speech understanding from in front of you. And third, and perhaps the most important feature that ReSound improved upon to achieve this 4.5 decibel signal-to-noise ratio improvement was a redesign of their microphone beamformer. This time around, ReSound engineers performed modeling to include the head, neck, and torso when determining which sounds they needed to cancel to reduce the perception of background noise. This dramatically improved their ability to do this noise cancellation with the new ReSound OMNIA hearing aids compared to their previous generation technology. But closing the distance between you and the person you want to hear and getting better hearing aid technology are not the only things that you can do to hear better in a background noise situation. The third thing that you can do is use an assistive listening device. Devices like remote microphones can dramatically improve how well you hear in a background noise situation, because you take it and you clip it on the shirt of the person that you want to hear. It takes their voice right next to their mouth and sends it directly into both of your hearing aids before a bunch of background noise can mix into it. When using a remote microphone like the ReSound Multi-Mic or Mini Mic, you can actually improve your signal-to-noise ratio by up to 20 decibels. Let me tell you this, a 20 decibel improvement in signal-to-noise ratio is the difference between not hearing a single thing that your friend is saying at a restaurant and hearing everything that they're saying without a problem. The best part is you can combine these remote microphones with hearing aids that have been designed to help you hear better in background noise. This way you have all of your bases covered if you find yourself in a noisy situation. Achieving better hearing in background noise does not have to be impossible. You just have to understand what makes hearing in background noise more difficult and be able to employ the tips and tricks to help you hear better. Of course, if you do not know what your signal-to-noise ratio loss score is, I do highly recommend that you find a hearing care professional who can get that score for you so you know what you're up against. Once you know this information, you'll be able to identify exactly what types of accessories and hearing aids that you need to help you hear better in those types of difficult situations. You see, people have been paying attention to the concerns of individuals who use hearing aids. The only question becomes is, are you going to take the information that you now know and actually do something about it so you can hear better in background noise? That's it for this video. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below. If you liked the video, please share it. And if you want to see other videos just like this one, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Also, feel free to check out my website, hearingup.com.